Can we talk about the lunatics who are saying it didn't happen, it was staged, he has no wound on his ear, he shouldn't be wearing that bandage, all of which I've heard on MSNBC and
these
CNN
are real,
this week.
They're not just lunatics on
Daily Kos.
Yeah, some Twitter handle, lunatic 12345 _ hashtag.
Michael Steele, Joy Reid, many people on CNN as well.
No, well, they're out there.
Oh, we have Joy Reid. Let me play it,
All
and then I'll let you react.
We still don't know for sure whether Donald Trump was hit by a bullet, whether he was hit by glass fragments, whether he was hit by shrapnel. We don't have those details. We actually have no details from his physician. We know almost nothing. Why? We know that 3 people were shot. 1 person, unfortunately, was killed at the rally. We don't know where they were sitting or standing relative to him. We don't know why, for 9 full seconds, Donald Trump was allowed to stand back up and pose for a photo. What is the actual injury to Donald Trump's ear that's under that bandage? Shouldn't we know that by now? It's weird. And there doesn't seem to be a whole lot of curiosity about it. Why isn't the New York Times aggressively pursuing his medical records? It's just weird.
This is a sick person.
Truly. I mean, I'm a little upset that she got rid of the Trump wig that she's been wearing for the last couple of months. That sort of, it always felt like, he's really in your head. Like, you even adapted his hairstyle. But no, these people are, they're morons, but they're also just sick. It's like, I saw a couple of these takes, well, he wasn't shot enough. I'm like, wait, how much more do you want him to get shot in the face other than, seems pretty obvious, a lot more.
Yeah.
They want him shot a lot more. And so, and I have heard from people who have seen it. It was pretty messed up. And by the way,
we all saw it.
Yeah,
I saw it.
You see the picture. There's blood all over his face. You
and
can say
there's
whatever
a close-up
you
of
want.
on his ear.
Yeah. He was hit, and okay, so the bullet intended for him, even if it did hit glass, and the glass shutter didn't hit him in the face,
that doesn't count.
Intended for it
doesn't count.
What? You still get a Purple Heart if you get hit with shrapnel, right?
But the New York Times has pictures of the teleprompters. They're 100% intact.
Yeah, they're fine.
It wasn't, I don't know what it was. It looked to me like it was a bullet.
What it was is divine intervention.
Yes.
When I see that. And, for me, watching that and watching the takes, and, the dumbest take I've seen in the last, just this morning sort of scrolling was, if Joe Biden recovers from COVID, that's the same.
That's her, too.
That's the same as, Trump getting up and recovering from a I want to drop the F-bomb.
Yes, you can.
An effing gunshot.
Yeah.
It's not the same.
Can I show you? I'm going to show the show.
Okay.
That's that Joy Reid moron again doing this, but with Jen Psaki. Watch.
Here's the question that I have on that. These 2 men are both elderly. Donald Trump is an elderly man who, for whatever reason, was given 9 seconds to take a iconic photo op during an active shooter situation. Weird situation. We'll figure that out one day. But his survival of that and bouncing right back and going right to his convention is being conveyed in the media world as a sign of strength. This current president of the United States is 81 years old and has COVID. Should he be fine in a couple of days? Doesn't that convey exactly the same thing? That he's strong enough, older than Trump, to have gotten something that used to really be fatal to people his age. So if he does fine out of it and comes back and is able to do rallies, isn't that exactly the same?
It should.
It's not exactly the same. It's not the same incident, but it's an elderly man coming through out of an illness.
It should.
It should.
The desperation, the false equivalence that they're trying to do. It's literally, I don't know what else to say. It's like
I feel like she's wishing Joe Biden got shot and then
so that they
had
could
your
make
dad's
him
moment.
seem strong. But talk about them just, how about Trump can walk?
Yeah.
Trump is capable of going up a flight of stairs, completing a sentence. It's not the same, but the desperation is amazing. It's just sad that this is happening. I dealt with this on the floor on Monday. My brother and I, we're Florida delegates. I think Laura was as well. And we got to cast the vote, the deciding vote, the 125 delegates of Florida. We got to cast those votes to throw my father over the threshold to make him officially the Republican nominee. And so we're about to do this sort of, big deal thing for a family, for just history and legacy, political tradition, whatever it is. And 30 seconds before we're doing this, I'm getting assaulted by this MSNBC reporter that is like, so is Trump going to bring back the hate and the vitriol? I go, well, guys, that was you. Like, you said Trump created chaos, but Russia was a concoction of the Hillary campaign, and you guys ran with it.
We have it.
You still run with it. You guys lied about these things. You lied about Russia. You vilified Americans. You called everyone a Nazi for the years. Like, Trump has to respond. You can't just back into a corner and give up. I know you'd like him to do that. And I was just like, and then he goes, well, you put kids in cages. And I was like, you mean the Obama cages? And he lost his mind.
Right.
It's either he was too stupid to know that was actually factually correct, that this was an Obama program. And by the way, I guarantee you it's 100 times worse now under Joe Biden, given the border crisis. Or he was just incapable of intellectual honesty, and his job as a regime propagandist wouldn't allow that. It's probably both. I think this guy was clearly a moron.
Let me tell you,
but I was like, you're a clown.
When I was at NBC, he came on my show during the Kavanaugh hearings and actually said that man's been credibly accused by at least 4 or 5 women of sexual assault. And I said, that's absolutely untrue. And we got into Avenatti and his lunatic clients and the gang rape absurd.
How'd that work out?
Yeah, exactly. I was no longer there. But that's who he is. I mean, this you handled that. It was like an example in how to handle leftist media.
Yeah.
You put him right in his place. And it was, everybody was standing up and cheering you because we're sick of the media doing this.
I think it was the most viral clip actually of the day. Someone told me they'd hit like 70 million views. Like, because it.
But let's just show it because now the audience wants to see it. Let's watch it.
What is that change going to look like, Don? Practically, your father as president, I think you would even say, was a divisive figure. What's it going to look like in the second term?
I don't think he was a divisive figure at all. I think the media created divisiveness around him. They lied about Russia collusion. They said he was a traitor. They went after him in every which ways possible. If the media actually starts being an honest broker, talking about the things that he did, the prosperity he brought, the peace deals that he signed around the world, rather than the disaster that we're living right now, I think you'd do everyone in the country a big favor.
I know immigration's important to him. I covered the family separation crisis closely. Will we continue to see policies like separating 5,000 children deliberately from their parents?
You mean the Obama administration?
You know they didn't do that, sir.
Okay, sure.
Will there be a second family separation policy?
It's MSDNC, so I expect nothing less from you clowns. Even today, even 48 hours later, you couldn't wait. You couldn't wait with your lies and with your nonsense. So just get out of here.
That was so well done. He's not an honest broker.
Not even a little bit. Again, to the 48-hour comment, that was Monday, right? So my father had been shot in the face 48 hours before. And, I think
Thanks for the well wishes.
That was the most restraint I'd ever showed. Another guy in another situation sort of talks to me like that in that kind of situation,
He's a divisive figure.
Yeah, and he's trying to be, but that's the point. Like, they couldn't even wait to try to change the narrative. They'll pretend this week that they hadn't been calling everyone in that convention center a Nazi for the last 8 years.
Did you see the Lincoln Project, after the assassination attempt, has a new ad calling him Hitler?
Of course, because it's all they have. They have to create that hate and vitriol, and it's the end of democracy. Remember, the people who are talking about the end of democracy, the people who've called us fascists, they're trying to jail their political opponents. They're now trying to kill him. They've tried impeaching him. They've tried bankrupting him. They've tried taking away his businesses. They've changed statute of limitations in laws to be able to go after things that were nonsense from it. They're the ones that are actually being fascist, not even, acting like it.
How's he doing?
Honestly, he's doing great. It was, Saturday obviously was a rough and sort of somber day for me. I literally, my daughter the girl who spoke last night, because I have 5 kids, so it's a lot of them.
It's so many.
She uncharacteristically on Saturday, did the teenage thing that doesn't happen often, as you're starting to probably figure out. It's like, hey, Dad, can we go out, go fishing or do something that I do? And I was like, wait, yeah, sure, 100%. So I took her and a couple of her friends out on the boat, and I get a call, your dad's been shot. And I was but what? We don't know anything. I'm like,
wow.
It took 90 minutes for me to figure out that he was even alive. I didn't know, and obviously rushed back home. We got all my kids together, trying to explain to I have younger kids too, because 10 to 17, but I have 5. So it's explaining to a 10-year-old that their grandpa got shot in the face, and and then you start seeing the videos, and it's like, well, is he okay? Is he not? And finally got through after an hour and a half, and. But by then I'd seen the video of him getting up and standing defiant. I just said, you know what, you're the biggest badass I know.
How did you feel when you saw that tape for the first time?
I honestly, I was so proud because these days everyone's a tough guy on the internet, right? Everyone behind a keyboard from miles away, they'll talk smack to everything. And until you've actually sort of been tested, I spoke about it a little bit, I guess, in my speech last night. Until you've actually been tested, everyone thinks they're going to come out that way, but 99% of them don't. And so
every man, I said this, every man pictures himself having a moment like that and doing what your dad did.
Every man thinks they're Trump in that situation, but 99 out of 100 probably aren't.
Right. Because they're normal humans.
Yeah, by the way, it's a natural defense mechanism. It was interesting. I was walking the floor on Monday, and two people came up to me. They were not there together, but they were both at the Butler rally, and they just happened to kind of run into it. I was at Butler. The other guy was like, oh, I was at Butler too. And the one guy said, your father saved a lot of lives that night. I go,
that's right.
What are you talking about? Like, he saved a lot of lives. He goes, when he got back up, because it was like 15, 20 seconds, he goes, all hell was breaking. Like, there was almost pandemonium. There were people going to fall off the bleachers. They pandemonium. And the one guy was like, yeah, I was on the press riser. And the other guy was on one of the rafters. He goes, it was about to be like a stampede and people were going to get hurt. When he stood back up and put his fist in the air and started saying, fight, 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 everyone stopped.
Yep.
They took in the moment, and it was like calm.
I have to tell you,
it was incredible. I would have never even thought about that, but the guy literally came up to me. He was like, it wasn't just cool because it was defiant and badass. It actually served a purpose in that moment for the people there that didn't get trampled.
For me, it was so illuminating because I think so much of what your dad has done over the years falls into that same fight mentality. Yeah. And it reframes it all. Like the guy who will pick a fight or send a tweet, whatever the people might like, that's part of the package. He's a fighter. He's not a flighter.
Yeah.
And that's just who he is.
Yeah,
and it was like right there. And for me, it was like, I get it all in a way I never, I was getting to get it, but that just brought it home. That's the nature of who he is. It was a superhero moment for him.
Yeah. So that was a test, but I think other people recognized that. They felt it even throughout his presidency. Right? There's a reason our enemies didn't invade our neighbors because, I don't know, that guy's built different. How's he going to respond?
Not going to end well for us.
That's a guy he's not to be trifled with. So I think he's always sort of probably exuded that. But again, you never know until you're actually, put into that situation. And
he may have surprised even himself.
Yeah, I was like, I thought the mugshot was an iconic photo.
Yes, and then
now the mugshot is now the equivalent of like my daughter drawing a picture of her grandpa in crayon. You know what I mean? Like it went from being an iconic photo.
But did you ask him, like, was he worried? Because when I was watching, I was like, there could be a second shooter. He wasn't thinking about that.
It's just not his nature, right? So he re-engaged as quickly as he could, and that's what he did. And like I said, my first comment sort of that was just badass.
Okay, if you were not following the news, you may have missed it, but a massive hit to the US dollar just came in June when Saudi Arabia did not renew its 50-year petrodollar deal with the US. Since 1974, Saudi Arabia has sold oil exclusively in US dollars, and that was huge to our global economic dominance. Now they want options other than the dollar. So ask yourself, if there's less demand for the dollar, what happens next? Look, it's reasons like this that Americans are looking at Birch Gold Group. For over 20 years, Birch Gold has helped tens of thousands of Americans protect their savings by converting an IRA or 401k into an IRA into physical gold. To learn more, text the word MK to 989898 and claim your free, no obligation info kit on gold. That's MK to the number 989898. Birch Gold has earned the trust of so many with their education-first approach. There are thousands of happy customers and so many 5-star reviews. Consider protecting your savings with gold before the dollar plunges any further. Text MK to 989898 today. Thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.